Well, this video is going to be a little bit different. I've been wanting to talk about My Singing Monsters for quite some time now. It's one of those games that I get unironic enjoyment out of. It may look like your generic mobile game, but it's way more than that. It's very creative, and it has a lot of lore, believe it or not. Probably more lore than the Five Nights at Freddy's lore. But I'm not here to talk about the lore today. I'm going to be doing something way more different. Ranking the monsters on Amber Island because I got nothing else to do. To celebrate the Echoes of Eco, aka Amber Island's seasonal event, I've decided to rank all of the monsters on Amber Island. This is how it's gonna go down. The monsters will be ranked based on their sound and how well they contribute to the song. And I'm also gonna rank them on a tier list because that's kind of like the best way of ranking things. And we will be going in order from worst to best. Also, it will be in the style that Shay Frillis makes his, ranking videos and stuff. I don't know why, but I thought it would be funny. With that out of the way, let's get ready to rank every single Amber Island monster. Let's start things off with the F tier. I think we can all agree that there's one monster that's worthy being in this tier. You'll never guess who it is.
Disappointment in the game of life.
It's Barb. I'm not the biggest Barb fan. I'm the biggest Barb hater. I can tolerate them on Fire Haven, but I cannot on Amber Island. Just take a listen to their horrendous voice. Like, why the hell do they sound like that? Is it because the composer assumed that the voice actor left? I don't know, but the person who voiced Barb on Amber Island, you need to do better. No offense. If I only had to say one positive about Barb on Amber Island, it's the fact that it only plays once. I know many monsters play it in only one verse. Well, in Amber Island's case. I know most monsters aren't really that good for playing in one verse. I'm just glad that, Barb only sings once because I really don't want to hear their voice again for the rest of the song. They still suck though, so they're an F tier. And that pretty much does it for the F tier. Yeah, that's right. Barb is so bad that they're the only monster in F tier. Now let's move on to E tier for the monsters that suck but are way better than Barb.
Not into the pit, it burns!
Alright, I'm gonna ask you viewers a question. Out of all of the Quints on Amber Island, which one do you think is my least favorite? Don't worry, I'll give you some time to think. Alright, was that enough time? Alright, cool. If you guessed Larva, you'd be correct! Okay, but for real though, why did they do her so dirty? They are a Quint elemental monster, and they gave her the most minimalistic sound on the island. The Quints are supposed to be the quote-unquote bosses of certain elements. Candelabra is supposed to be the Quint for the fire element, and Amber Island is an island home for the fire elementals. So why the actual hell does Candelabra have a minimalistic sound that almost adds nothing to the song? It makes her look like a complete joke. And also, she's way too quiet. And she only plays in one verse, a common theme for Amber Island. And what's worse is that most monsters overshadow her part, making them a completely underused monster. But Scott, why isn't it F tier? Well, at least her voice is tolerable, unlike Barb. But yeah, this monster is trash on here. Easy E tier.
Was that the bite of 87?
I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of Incised. I'm not really too big on his character design and his sound. It's a fire quad with a minimalistic sound, and it also doesn't add too much to the song. It's just there. Incised looks like a triple elemental monster, not a quad. I know it's supposed to fill out the Bisonerus verse, but I'm sorry, but I just don't like Incised. I really got nothing else to say about him. I am sorry, Incised fans, but he is an E-tier monster. Pong Ping is stale as an expired saltine cracker. Like Incised, I am not a fan of this monster at all. They feel more like a triple elemental monster than a quad elemental monster. Also, their sound really isn't that good on Amber Island. Hell, he might suck on all the islands he's on. The concept of this monster seemed alright, but it was executed very poorly. So in the E tier you go, Pong Ping.
Listen, Big Nose, that guy's been saving your butt since before you were born. Don't you got a living legend discount or something?
And the last monster to go in E tier is Vasquez. I like Vasquez, but I don't like them on Amber Island. They kind of suffer the same way as Candelabra, where they play in the beat drop but are overshadowed by other monsters on the island. If they played more in the song, then Vasquez might be higher. But no, he will stay in the depths of the E tier. And that wraps up the E tier. Now we're gonna move on to the D tier, where the monsters are below average at best.
Then he waddled away, waddle, waddle, till the very next day.
Yeah, Waddle is a monster. I'm not really too big on Waddle, to be honest. They exist just to fill out, you know, some of the beginning a little. And yeah, they only play there and nothing else. Also, the character design is very hideous. They look like my sleep paralysis demon. Can we just move on? I really don't want to talk about this mid-monster anymore. Ooh, boy. It's time to talk about Wink. Not a fan of this monster. Not a fan. They only exist to fill out one part of the song, and that's it. Also, their voice is like way too goofy. And I don't mean that in a good way at all. Well, hey, at least their voice isn't as ear-grating as Barb. That's pretty much all I have to say about Wink. D tier.
Uh-oh, you found the toothpaste? Let's get one thing clear. I can brush my teeth all by myself, okay?
Bisonerus is literally just Wink, but barely better. That's literally all I have to say for Bisonerus. D tier.
The lake-nosed monster!
Fumble was originally going to be a trash E tier, but when the final update came out for Amber Island, Grumble kind of grew on me. I didn't really like him at first on Amber Island, mainly because they only played at the beginning and beginning only. But I'm kind of glad they added them to the new ending verse, and now I kind of like them a little bit more. Now you may ask, why are they only in D tier? Mainly because they sound way too similar to their Bone Island track, and I had the feeling that they sampled it. I could be wrong, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, Frumble's alright, I guess. Not good, not bad either, just alright.
Official flower business.
Rounding out the D tier, we got Flower. For some reason, when he was first introduced to the Mice and Monsters series, my little brother Timothy liked him for some reason. Hey Timothy, why do you like Flower again?
Because he's a big flower man that goes hooga and chooga. It's not hard. He's big and strong. Unlike sunflowers, which is for little girls. On this example, he's not that good. He's just a reskin of Barb, except before Barb. And better Barb. And doesn't sound as ugly.
Yeah, that's one way to describe him. He's pretty much Barb without an ear-grating voice. So, yeah, D tier. And that's the D tier. Now we're gonna move on to the C tier, where the monsters are just average.
Killer fish. Killer fish from San Diego.
Hey, look who it is. It's the fish with an out-of-tune voice, Fangler! I'm gonna be completely honest, Fangler really isn't that bad. Sure, he does have a minimalistic sound, but he does play a lot, so that's something. It's not the best Fangler sound per se, but hey, it does its job well. If his sound wasn't really minimalistic, he would not be in C tier, but I would say like B tier at best. But for right now, he's at C.
You're probably gonna see some humpback whales and maybe even the great Moby Dick.
Chef, he's trying to molest me talking about his penis or something.
What?
Oh gee, would you look at this? Another Quint that plays in one verse only. Say hello to Bowhead. This monster had so much potential, but it was wasted. Don't get me wrong, I love the sound and I love the design, but man, I wished Bowhead played more. If this monster played more, it would be in B. Hell, maybe even A. I just don't understand why the Quints on this island are so underused. But hey, I'll give it points for filling out the beginning a little bit more. I really felt like the beginning needed some more oomph, if you know what I mean. There's one more Quint that suffers the same fate as Bowhead and Candelarva, but we'll get to him in a bit. We gotta cover the main star of the show.
Captain Magma! Get him angry and he's bound to erupt!
I think you were expecting Kana to be around the middle. Kana is just like Fangler, where she has a minimalistic sound, but plays a lot. And I'm gonna be real with you, I'm completely fine with that. Sure, her sound might get a little bit repetitive, but it's alright. In my opinion, it's not as repetitive as Light Island Kana. But yeah, it does its job well, and yeah, C tier I guess. Let's move on.
Horton hears domestic violence in the next apartment and doesn't call 911.
Like I said before, Tusky suffers the same fate as Bowhead and Kana larva on Amber Island, because they're a quint that only plays in one verse and one verse only. Again, I don't understand why the quints are so underused. Well, besides the other two quints we haven't talked about, but we'll get to them eventually. And like Bowhead, I like their design and sound, but I wish they played more. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Tusky's sound sounds like it would be in the Flumox verse. If it played there, it would be higher on the list. But no, you just exist just to fill out some of the beginning a little bit. I guess I can't bellyache too much because their sound is actually kind of cool. Also, I felt like the other half of the beginning verse needed some more oomph, so I'll give them props for that. But yeah, that's Tusky for ya. Moving on.
Shake, shake, Sinora, shake it all the time.
I'm not gonna lie, I kinda like Vivane on Amber Island. I felt like the beginning of the Amber Island song needed some more percussion, and I'm glad Vivane solves that problem. Now Zigrub isn't the only percussionist that plays in the beginning. Great job, Vivane! But why isn't it C tier instead of B tier? Mainly because it kinda sounds a little too similar to Edemimi on here. I may be nitpicking, but they just sound so similar. And speaking of Edemimi...
You boys want a cold one?
Let's talk about her, shall we? Honestly, I have nothing much to say about Edemimi on here. I think they are a decent percussion monster, and I think they add quite a lot to the song. Yeah, I have nothing else to say about Edemimi. Let's move on to the last monster of the C tier.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age!
I did not want to put Stog in C tier, but I had to. I know they're supposed to fill out the half of Souza's tracks, but like, I just wished he did more than that. Now you may be wondering why they aren't lower on the list. That's because they play a lot. They would be higher on the list if they had like a track specifically for the beginning. But this is the best we got. It's very criminal that they gave them a minimalistic sound. This is a hate crime. Like, you should not do them dirty like that. But at the end of the day, it's alright, I guess. And that concludes the C tier. Now we're gonna move on to the B tier, where the monsters actually start to get pretty good.
It seems today that all you see is violence in movies and sex on TV.
Starting off the B tier, we got Snizer. I'm gonna be completely honest. Snizer kinda disappointed me when he first released, but he kinda grew on me a little bit. Sure, their sound is very simplistic, but I guess it kinda works. I just wished it played more, if I'm gonna be completely honest. Because here's the thing, the castle on Amber Island does not have a castle base, while most islands have a castle base. And Snizer is a base monster. Snizer having a minimalistic sound just kinda makes no sense at all. But at the end of the day, it's not really a big deal. I was gonna put them at like high C tier, but since they play in the ending verse now, I put them at like low B at best. So congrats for that promotion, Snizer. Now let's move on. Yeah, I did not expect Tring to be this high, but I do have a reason why he's so high. I thought he was gonna do a simple ding, but he did a triangle roll too, which is awesome actually. It makes the transitions for each verse a whole lot more smoother. And I like that actually. And he even plays a whole lot too, which is kind of surprising because Tring never did a triangle roll until now. This might actually be his best sound in the MSM series. Yeah, it's so weird seeing Tring out of all monsters not having such a minimalistic sound. Because I'm gonna be completely honest, I don't like Tring. But I really love how he was executed on here. Is this like the Tring redemption arc? Because if that's the case, then oh god, let that continue, please. I want him doing more than just a simple ding for every island he's on. Like, I want more of the stuff he does on Amber Island. It would make me like Tring a whole lot more. So yeah, he deserves B tier for doing that triangle roll 4 times. Originally, he did it 2 times, but ever since that ending verse was added, he does it 4 times. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Tring. This is one of those monsters that I thought would suck on Amber Island, but I was proven very wrong. So yeah, congrats for not sucking on an island for once. Please do that on future islands you're on. I would love that.
Whoever's the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
I was gonna put Souza in A tier, but here's the thing. One part of their track is like, kinda offbeat. I really don't know why part of their track is a little offbeat, but like, I don't like that. If that part didn't sound so offbeat, it would be like way higher on the list, but I had to put it in B tier for that sole reason alone. Sorry, Souza.
They see me rolling, they hate it.
Concluding the B tier, we got Repetillo. Repetillo was gonna be like a high C tier, but went from a high B tier instantly. Repetillo on Amber Island is like one of those monsters that I don't mind, you know, not really playing that much. Which is kind of a weird thing to say. Like, sure, they don't play a lot, but for some reason, they add a lot to the verses he's in. Like, I don't know how to explain it properly. If he played more, he would definitely be higher. But honestly, I don't mind Repetillo on Amber Island. He's pretty cool. B tier. And that's the B tier. Now we're gonna move on to the A tier, where monsters actually start to get pretty stinking awesome.
Hey, you guys are watching Bird Up, the worst show on television.
I do not care what anyone says, but Growl on Amber Island is simply fascinating. Like, where do I even begin? First of all, they carry the beginning of the Amber Island song, and second of all, they play a lot too. Also, Growl's voice is just simply beautiful, like always. Like, if you hate Growl on Amber Island, there's something wrong with you. And I feel like you're missing the appeal too. And I'm gonna be real, Growl's sound on Amber Island might be the best she has offered in the MSM series. Like, no joke, it's so beautiful and majestic. And I'm honestly glad she's one of the first monsters we got on Amber Island. I want to gush more about Growl, but we got a few other monsters to talk about, so let's move on.
And release all of those sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Yeah, Flummox is this high for a reason. Flummox is the monster that created one of the most beautiful verses in MSM history, which we affectionately call the Flummox verse. Like, there's so much positive things I have to say about Flummox. First of all, their sound is very intriguing, and I really enjoy it. And second of all, he plays more than once. He used to play only once, which I didn't really mind, but now he plays 2 times, which is actually incredible. I really enjoy Flummox on Amber Island. He's easily an A tier monster. Flummox deserves more praise, honestly. He's honestly the GOAT.
Rootitude, rootitude.
Ooh, look at this, another monster that plays in the Flummox verse, the Majestic Rootitude. Like I said with Flummox, Rootitude is an underrated monster too. Sure, the design may be a little bit on the simplistic side, but their sound carries. And I'm gonna be real when I say this, Rootitude has one of the most beautiful sounds on Amber Island. And they're also one of the monsters that carry the Flummox verse and the ending verse too. Like Flummox, they only play in the Flummox verse, but now they play in the ending verse too, so Rootitude easily deserves an A tier.
That's the fucking theme to Angry Birds.
Next up in the A tier, we got Woolabee. Woolabee's sound on Amber Island might not be the most exciting, but you cannot lie, it's still pretty good no matter what, because it's Woolabee. Like, come on, you cannot hate Woolabee no matter what. I will admit that his Amber Island sound isn't the best, but it's far from bad. Like, it's not that bad at all. Sure, the VST it has isn't really the same on Amber Island, but I don't mind it too much. And I'm not gonna lie, it kind of fits the vibe of Amber Island too. And he also adds a lot to the verses he's in, so that's awesome. I got nothing else to say really, but all I can say is that Woolabee is an awesome monster on Amber Island. A tier. I love Yelmet. I really adore this monster. He is so silly. Are they good on Amber Island though? Hell yeah. Yes, I know, their Amber Island sound is pretty much, the same as his continent sound, but like, I do not care a single bit. I don't know what it is, but their sampled continent sound kinda works. Cause he fills in a lot of the verses he's in. And because of that, I gotta give him some credit for that. Is it lazy to sample their sound from the continent? Yes. But do I care a single bit? No. Cause it's freaking Yelmet, I gotta appreciate him no matter what. He is a Chad, a legend, and is worthy of being an A tier. Congratulations, Yelmet, you've earned it.
I'm gonna crack like nobody's watching and eat like I skipped lunch. Why? Because Red Lobster's Crab Fest is back.
Ooh, would you look at this? A quint that actually isn't underused. Dromedary! They are a great monster on Amber Island for a few reasons. First of all, Dromedary is a percussion monster that adds a lot to the verses he's in. Second of all, he does some clicking noises which we never seen before. And third of all, they even play in the Flummox verse. And the ending verse too. Although I do have one complaint about Dromedary on Amber Island. Their second track is a bit of a tease if I say so myself. Because he just simply does a little boom in the Flummox verse. Like, come on, bro. your sound does not have to be that minimal. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I just think Dromedary on Amber Island is really good. A tier.
There's only one of me in all the world. I am one in a trillion.
Krillby on Amber Island blew my damn mind. Cause goddammit, they sound amazing. I'm being genuine here. He's actually really good. Like, he is one of the monsters that carried the Flummox verse. He also hits a high note when the Flummox verse ends. Like, goddamn, I didn't know he was gangsta like that. I just really adore Krillby on Amber Island. He is for sure an easy A tier. And that concludes the A tier. Now we can finally move on to the legendary S tier, where the monsters are the best of the best. Yeah, boy! Flugel in the house! Flugel has got to be one of my favorite fire monsters. And I am happy to report that Flugel has one of the best sounds on Amber Island. Cause he's just built different. I think it's safe to say that Flugel is one of the monsters that carry the Amber Island song. Like, listen to the Amber Island song without him and it would be empty as hell. There's a whole lot to love about Flugel. Their design, their sound, their concept, it's just amazing. Definitely S tier worthy.
This place is better than I expected.
I really adore Tiawa. I'm gonna keep this entry short and sweet. Tiawa's sound is amazing, and they add a lot to the song. Yeah, I know, they play 2 times and all, but like, they are still really good. I just simply love Tiawa. S tier.
Money! Money! Money!
Ah, yes, the Ziggurat, the backbone of the Amber Island song.
No, seriously, if Ziggurat was like removed from Amber Island, the song would sound very empty. Okay, sure, their sound is simple, but it's very effective. They're the main percussionists on Amber Island, and they play a lot too. There is literally no other tier this monster can go in. It will forever stay in S tier. However, there is one monster that's superior than all of the monsters on Amber Island. And now I think it's an appropriate time to talk about them. Oh my god, I love Gnarls. Now you may be wondering, Scott, why does Gnarls deserve to be this high? Well, I'll tell you, young man. First of all, they have a very beautiful sound. Second of all, they play more than once, unlike most Quints on Amber Island. And third of all, they are the sole reason why the ending verse exists. And some monsters that only play in one verse now play in that ending verse. Some monsters include Rootitude, Krillby, Flummox, etc, etc. And I'm gonna be real, I kinda had low expectations for the plant Quint, because many Quints on Amber Island were being underused and I got very worried. But Gnarls knocked my expectations out of the park. And I'm glad that Gnarls wrapped everything up perfectly. This was the monster that we all needed. What a fascinating way to end off the island. And with that, we officially completed the entire ranking. Holy crap, this was a trip. I was not really the biggest fan of Amber Island, but when the final update rolled around, I started to like it a whole lot more. If I were to rank the island as a whole, I'd probably give it like a B tier at best. Sure, the island is not perfect by any means necessary, but it's still really good. It may have its flaws, but hey, it's still pretty decent. I had a very fun time working on this video. If you guys would like to see more videos like these, then I'll definitely make more. That's pretty much all I have to say for right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!